Giving birth would be horrifying because I'm a man, but if I could give birth, I'd want to give birth in the clouds. I mean, come on, soft, pillows to lay
Like
on.
a digital baby born in the cloud.
All right, welcome back. We literally had way too much to talk about, so this is the second part of our episode with Tyson from Screen Review Time Warp. If you haven't listened to the first part, you're probably going to want to go back and listen to it. So just skip back in your podcast, listen to that, and then continue.
It's been fun, and it's going to continue to be fun.
And this is part 2, Judgment Day.
And then part 3 will come out later.
Salvation.
Which is Dalware coming in and killing us all.
So, I think, Tyson,
Yes.
of a world that is just thriving with content. One that we have not really explored on this podcast, even though we try to cover all aspects of nerdery and pop culture. It is the area of graphic novels.
That's right.
Goodness.
Whoa.
He's just smashed down a pile of graphic novels and fun.
Not a pile, just 3.
Just 3.
I left my other 127 back at home.
127? Wow,
Yep.
that's oddly specific.
I have a book catalog app, which I actually use for insurance purposes because my wife and I have so many books that we need to keep track of them all. And I can look here in my comics and graphic novels section. I have 130 books. The one that you are holding in your hand right now, Adam, was one that I wanted to recommend to you, actually to both of you.
Oh.
The very first time that I listened to you guys on this podcast.
Oh, dude, it looks good.
You were talking about books and apocalypse, and I was like, this is the perfect series for you.
This is also a TV show at the moment, is it not?
No, it is not.
Are you sure? Because there is a TV show with this title, with this premise.
I will have to double check that. As far as I'm aware, that it was not being turned into a TV show.
Okay.
Anyway,
The Last Man on Earth. Why The Last Man?
It is. So this series is called Why the Last Man. It is.
Sorry, I spoiled that.
No, that's fine. It's written by Brian K. Vaughan.
It's not Why the Last Man, but yep.
Yeah, it is an award-winning series. So the premise is this. You ready? You guys often talk about the apocalypse.
Oh my goodness, it just got green lighted for a TV series as of last week.
Really?
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh,
On
that's
FX.
very interesting.
So I don't know how you feel about that, Tyson.
Well, you'll find out about it because you always talk about the apocalypse.
Yes.
Assuming you're going to be there.
What?
I don't assume.
The premise of Why the Last Man
Yeah.
is that at a certain point, all over the earth, every living thing with a Y chromosome dies.
Oh, right.
Oh boy.
Except for
The Last Man.
the main character, whose name is Yorick, and the male helper monkey that he was training at the time.
Is he like super popular, like
With the ladies?
I'm
No,
just
yeah.
So he very cleverly straight away disguises himself.
Okay.
As a woman?
Because, well, no, he just covers himself up from head to toe.
Oh, okay. Ready.
Because amongst all this, there's obviously a lot of, there's some people who are apparently in the story, lots of people kill themselves because they're like, this is it. There's a whole tribe of people called the Amazons that come out and think that this is actually God's wrath because men were destroying the world.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
It's a really interesting look at, especially American culture, but Western culture in general, where actually not even just Western culture now that I realize, where that it's so, even though we've taken leaps and bounds in terms of feminism and how far we've come with women's rights and equality, we're still very male dominated. And so, for instance, what happens to the entire US Congress when the only things that are left are kind of some female politicians and maybe politicians' wives.
That's
and
biting.
it's really, really well done. I would highly recommend this series. I'm not actually at the end of it, even though it's come out a long time ago.
So with all the men, did they die?
Died.
Was it they just died? Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Yep. How did they die out of curiosity? Was it like choking disease?
Well, we don't know. That's the other thing that they're trying to find out. So essentially the plot focuses around Yorick, the main character, an Israeli special agent whose name is escaping me at the moment, Agent 355.
Yeah, that's a name that you're not really going to remember.
Yep. And a female scientist as well whose name is also escaping me. And basically they're trying to work out, first of all, how come he's alive? Second of all, what caused everything else to die? And lastly, can they repopulate from there?
Right. Okay. All right. All right. So that's your. So is this your favorite comic at the moment? Is it?
No, it's not. But that's one that's just apocalypse themed. I thought it was something that you guys would enjoy. And again, takes a look at, well, what if you're not here around in the apocalypse? What if the apocalypse is just destroying all men?
That's fine. Hey, if some mysterious disease targets me specifically as a man, I'm cool with it.
There you go.
But I'm taking so many people with me by just kicking the head of a nuclear warhead. You know what?
Which
Everybody
he keeps
goes,
in his
boom.
house.
Yeah, just buried underneath. Or I'm going to dive into a volcano because that sounds like fun.
Well, the next series, last week on the show, Adam, you mentioned that you were looking for a new series.
Yes.
This is one that I
have recommended it to me so many times.
This is a series which I have only discovered somewhat recently. I have spent a vast sum of my income collecting up the trade paperbacks of this. Oof. This is a series called Fables. Mm-hmm. Fables. It is written by Bill Willingham.
Fables.
Fables.
Okay, because I remember trying to find it, and I didn't put S at the end. It was just Fables, so I kept getting the
the computer game.
The computer game, yeah.
Okay, I have currently got, let's see, 9, 10, I have 11 of the trade paperbacks at the moment.
All right.
The premise of this is just lovely. It's basically, the idea is that in downtown New York, in a like a high-rise building, is all the escaped fables from your fairy tales.
Yeah, like all the Grimm's fairy tales.
Yes, well, all of them.
Yeah.
All your Arabian Nights fairy tales,
yeah.
all your traditional Hans Christian Andersen, everything, all the Grimms, it's all there. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, like Snow White is like the deputy mayor, and she essentially runs the whole thing. The Big Bad Wolf is the sheriff, who's kind of the main character in the whole thing. Jack, who's, Jack Candlestick, Jack and the Beanstalk, all the same.
Every Jack.
So that he, in this mythos, that's all the same person.
Mm-hmm. Wow, he gets around.
Yeah, so he's actually quite a significant character because of that.
He's an adventurer.
Yep. So he's in it. Old King Cole, like everyone. And the idea is that they were all forced out of the Fablelands, a few hundred years ago.
Yeah.
Because the, what do they call it? The enemy. I'm blanking on his name. He's got a very generic name.
Bob?
No, as in, like, it's... Oh, the adversary.
Oh, the adversary. Okay, radio.
So the adversary started wiping out fables all over the place.
Yeah.
And so a group of them, like, escaped through to our world, and it's about how they survive and how they live and thrive and have this big whole... this whole society. And then you've got, like, in upstate New York, there's a farm, and it's got all the characters that can't pass as human in there.
Oh,
so
okay, like trolls and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And like dragons and the goose that lays the golden eggs and all
dragons.
those kind of things. It's so well done, and it's so creative, and it's just very interesting seeing all these characters that you know from fairy tales, but reinvented in modern society, and the intrigue and the plot. Because the other thing is that when they came to our world, they basically all agreed to like an amnesty. We'll all start again.
Yep.
So for instance, one of the big examples, the Big Bad Wolf, who's the sheriff, who's more commonly known as Bigby, he's had so many enemies. Yeah. He's attacked so many people. He's quite a significant figure, and so they all agreed, that's it. We're like all the evil witches, like they're all, yep, we're fine. We'll all start again, because the adversary was the bigger deal.
Yeah.
And so, bring them all in. Bill Willingham has just created an amazing universe. It's so rich with characters and dynamics. There was a computer game that was made out of it called The Wolf Among Us. It's brilliant. Highly recommend it. Adam, there is enough of these to last you for a very long time.
I'm looking through the stuff now. I'm actually literally buying one right at this very second.
It's so good. It's so good. That's Fables.
All right, Fables. All right, and you've discussed this third one.
Yep, the last one I'm bringing here is my favorite book. One of my favorite books. Actually, I'd say probably my favorite book of all time. It's V for Vendetta.
Sorry, you're wrong. This podcast is purely...
Sorry, apart from the name of the wind.
That's better, thank you.
How dare I sully the name of Patrick Rothfuss.
Indeed.
I can't
your second favorite series.
Of course. V for Vendetta.
Yep.
I've already talked about this in the movie, but the book itself it's just that look at what happens when especially in this case, when the powers that be should not be the powers that be.
So this is a graphic novel as well, is it?
So that was a graphic novel. It was originally released as, I think, 12 issues, but it is just a self-contained story in and of itself. I love it. I love the character of V. I love what he stands for. I love the fact that he is a timeless character. He's never actually pinned down, although his past is talked about, and he has a huge revenge plot in the whole thing. His grander purpose of upsetting the government, and the way he does it, and the fact that it's very well done.
Yeah.
Thoroughly recommend it.
All right. So you've heard those. So those are Tyson's favorite comics. John, have you got any favorite comic you like?
Well, I haven't read that many graphic novels, but I am a massive fan of online web comics.
Ah, yes.
Very good.
Which is, I don't know if many of them count as graphic novels, though. That's the only problem.
The Apocalypse. That's amazing.
That was a pixel art comic, not quite the...
Yeah, but I mean, it's same media, really. I mean, I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, so I guess...
Animated, so good.
I was trying to think if I had any others that were more like it, more like Apocalypse related, but I think that one probably covers it for the most part. I think there is another one that I really like, which is kind of steampunk based, but it's called Alpha Shade. So it's about...
I haven't heard of that one.
Basically two different worlds, like the modern era and this alternate steampunk world. But the problem is, online webcomics don't pay that well.
No, they don't.
So it takes them a while.
Unless you're XKCD. No, they don't.
Yes. So it takes them a while to actually bring the whole plot together. And I think it's been a while since I've last checked. So I'm not going to comment on the story because it obviously hasn't finished yet.
Yeah.
But my all-time favorite comic of all time is actually not really a graphic novel at all, but I needed some content to pad this out.
Yeah.
It's called Beaver and Steve, and if you've watched Rick and Morty or Adventure Time, it's kind of that absurdist adventures.
Yeah.
So Beaver is a beaver, as you may guess.
I like it. Yeah.
And he's able to invent things, or they go on adventures together. Steve is a indescribable monster, I guess. He's part dragon or something. And basically they go on whatever adventures that you have. One episode they shrink what is it? Yeah. Beaver has a cold, and so Steve shrinks himself down, but he can't work out how to shrink stuff down, so instead he enlarges Beaver to this huge size and just flies in to try and fix the cold.
I like that.
But I was just thinking, if they were going to make anything into a new TV series, this would just match that new market that has opened up for sci-fi, adventure, absurd stuff. Because I think that maybe those kinds of things are getting more popular.
Right, okay. All right. Well, mine are... I was looking through my local bookshop the other day, before I had a D&D game, in fact, and I was looking around, and I went to the comics and graphic novel section, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge... I don't consume a lot of that media. But I'm looking through just thinking, maybe I'll pick up a couple of comics just to try it out, because everybody keeps suggesting them to me. And I see one. Just one name caught my attention first, and it was Lovecraft. And those of you who know me or have listened to this podcast more than once know that I'm a bit of a creep, and that I love H.P. Lovecraft and his work. So that immediately caught my attention. And then the name next to Lovecraft also caught my attention and guaranteed my purchase. And it was Lovecraft and Tesla, which is Nikola Tesla.
Was this written just for you?
It would have been.
I think it might have been.
It's called Herald. And it's about these two unlikely individuals coming together, one obviously with the realm of mysticism and the unknowable worlds, and then you got Nikola Tesla, this amazing technological genius. So on the front cover, it's got Nikola Tesla shooting out beams of blue-white electricity out of like two guns, and above him it's got H.P. Lovecraft shooting out beams of mystical yellow light. And it's about basically them trying to take down a cult of Cthulhu while trying to find the Necrominiacon, the original print.
Oh, wow.
To stop the rising of Cthulhu. And like I said, I haven't been a huge consumer of that, but I loved reading this. It was a brilliant type of feel because I just got engaged in it. It was very, very fun. So I highly recommend that. And this one's generic, and I've had it for ages, and I was reading it during a downtime at D&D. And it was Civil War.
By Mark Miller, the standout Marvel series.
Yeah, like obviously Civil War, the movie, of anyone who has seen that, is completely different from the comics. Like
so different.
Well, like the beginning was like so utterly changed. Like as in, it was a reality TV show that went wrong.
Yeah,
and.
In the comics or the movie?
In the comics.
In the comics, the reason that the call for
legislation
is because so in the Marvel universe there are so many like characters, like they're just it's a proliferation, and they kind of play on that a little bit. And one of them is like this. Oh, it's this reality TV series. It's these heroes, and they go in and they fight, and they fight the bad guys, and they film it. And one particular hero, his power was that he can absorb energy and then re-release it. Unfortunately, though, what happens is that someone goes in and I can't remember what it is, but they essentially bombard him with so much energy that he can't control it, and he essentially goes off like a bomb.
Well, the print I read was a bit different.
Go on.
The two...
I could be remembering this incorrectly.
The reality TV show is 100% correct.
Yeah.
They go in, there's like, we're about to bust these guys, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Oh, no, we've been spotted. So they all dive in. Looks like the heroes are going to win the day, and it's got one guy pinned outside with another hero, and it's the villain that blows up. He releases energy to destroy things. It wasn't any of the thing about energy redirection.
Okay, maybe
I'll double check that when I get home. But it's essentially the same
either
premise,
way is that this bomb, essentially a bomb goes off, and they're next to a school, a primary school.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And so like all these kids are killed. Like an entire school's worth of kids get killed, and that's what provokes the legislation.
And there's protests, all this other stuff. Tony Stark gets spat on, and he becomes for the...
so he becomes the big poster boy for legislation, and Captain America, ironically, even though everyone knows who he is, as Steve Rogers, he leads the resistance against the legislation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a thoroughly good read.
Sorry, Carrie. No, 100% correct. It is a fantastic read. I highly recommend that to everybody. Like I said, I have, and I know some of my friends don't either. But if you haven't gotten into comic books before, it is a staple of nerd culture.
It really is.
I highly recommend sinking your teeth into it. They're not hugely expensive. I think my favorite one, Herald, with Nikola Tesla and Lovecraft, that was only like $12, and that was a cracking good read and a lot of fun.
That's very cheap.
Yeah,
that's very, very cheap. Normally they are, unfortunately, being in Perth, Western Australia, we are as far away from anything as anything can possibly be, and the shipping adds up. So our books here in Australia, and then when you add in the cost of like the rent of a brick and mortar store, they actually add up quite a bit, and we can usually pay double what they do in America.
Yeah. But still, that being said, highly recommend, I'd recommend picking up like one or two just to sink your teeth into it. Yeah. And here you have a couple of recommendations from the Surviving the Apocalypse the Nerds Way and Screen Review Time Warp.
I would also be remiss if I have to say this. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
Batman is my all-time favorite superhero. On our bookshelf, my wife and I, we have a whole section which is just for graphic novels. And then we have a whole section which is just for Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. We have far and above more Batman than anything else, although Fables is catching up. And so I cannot go past without saying that you should go and pick up a Batman story. I would dare say that the Nightfall series, which is actually the first comics I ever read, they are a good place to start for Batman.
All right, folks. Nightfall, Batman, Fable, V for Vendetta, Y, The Last Man, Herald, Nikola Tesla, and H.P. Lovecraft,
and
Civil
Beaver
War,
and Steve.
And Beaver and Steve.
Oh. It's a classic.
I love it.
It's not quite as well drawn as some of these other ones.
Transition! Oh no, I've lost my sheet. Oh, there it is.
You've lost your what?
My sheet.
Oh.
And I've lost my sheet as well.
No, I have to censor that out.
Did you kiss your mother with that mouth?
No, she's pure evil and sleeps upside down in a cocoon of her own wings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Adam, finally, it has happened.
It has.
You have started watching the latest series of Doctor Who.
I consumed a massive chunk of it. A massive chunk. And I can say I'm shook. I think that's the term the kids use, isn't it? I'm officially shook.
Oh, I don't know.
You're a high school teacher. You should know this.
That's exactly why I don't know it.
Okay.
So you're about halfway through, aren't you?
I'm up to episode 10, I think.
Oh, right, you've only got 2 to go then.
Yeah. 3?
There's only 12 in this
Oh, okay.
series.
I thought it was 12, yeah. That's
Yeah,
13, sorry.
don't let it catch you out. You've got to...
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why it would catch you out. You just get to the end and go, oh, that's it.
So far, I'm a little bit disappointed. Only because, like, I came into the series thinking, oh, God, yes, this is going to be the master. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be, like, the subplot of just his evil or her evil, as she is the current incarnation of the master is the mistress, the Missy. Oh, she's so good. Oh, what's her name? Michelle Gomez?
Selena Gomez.
So, the singer.
You did that to me.
I was close. That's why I stopped.
Michelle Gomez.
Michelle Gomez.
She would make a great master as well. You know, Disney person being.
Oh my goodness! Right. So yeah, the Michelle Gomez as the master is fantastic, but yeah, I was just a little bit disappointed. I love the companion. I love Peter Capaldi. I just wish that there was more. It seemed to there was a few great episodes.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Because as much as I would profess to be a nerd, unfortunately, Doctor Who is just a whole segment that I've missed. I know, and it's
what shirt am I wearing right now, Tyson?
I'm aware that you're wearing Tyson. Don't get me wrong. Like the few episodes that I've seen, I've thoroughly enjoyed. The problem is that with every passing episode that gets released, it's more of a backlog that I would need to catch up on. I know that I don't have to catch up on everything, but I always thought that the new series from what was it 2001?
2005?
2005 onwards, like that would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Now, I was under the impression that Peter Capaldi was supposed to be the last iteration of the Doctor because at some point mentioned it was said he could only ever have 13
No,
generations.
Matt Smith was meant to be the last incarnation of the Doctor.
You're both right.
Yeah.
So
he is the master here. So
you're allowed to regenerate 12 times. You're allowed to regenerate, but that gives you 13 different faces. However, at one point we don't get to see the Doctor regenerate once, and at one point he regenerates without changing his face. So technically there were supposed to be 13 Doctors, but we only got 11. So he dies and then he's gifted more regenerations, and that's when he turns into Peter Capaldi. So that's how they wrote around that.
Oh, okay. So he now has a new lot of 12 regenerations.
Presumably, yep.
Oh, okay. Because I remember when Peter Capaldi was cast and it was supposed to be like, oh, this is going to be the last one. That's why he's older and grittier and it was going to be like a bit darker and more, as opposed to, oh yes, 10 crumpets, I say.
I do say, oh boy, yes, indeed.
So then when it was like, oh, he's now regenerating as a woman, I was like, oh, wait a minute, hang on, I thought he wasn't allowed to regenerate. Like, don't get me wrong, I think regenerating as a woman is like great curveball. Obviously, only being a male actor was something that's probably...
Well, it's happened because of, I mean, it makes sense to a certain extent because the Doctor is a male. Like, he's gone by the Doctor as a male forever.
Yeah.
I'm all for this because I'm so looking forward to seeing Jodie.
That's the thing.
Jodie Whittaker, I think her name is.
Yes.
Because it brings a bit of fresh air into
exactly,
it.
and it's different. But yeah, I was just confused having not known the full details behind it. I was like, I thought that he couldn't regenerate again. So
no, that's cool.
I'm glad you cleared that up, John.
Yes.
Yeah, John may be the Doctor in our friendship / relationship where he is
/ reality
where he but when it comes to Doctor Who, he is the master because he knows all the lore. He's seen the classic series. He lives and breathes this stuff.
I should also point out, for anyone who's an ultimate Doctor Who fan, it is technically possible to regenerate a 13th time, but it just gets super, super dicey. So it's kind of like a weird combination of illegal and biologically a bad idea, and you turn into a weird skeleton. Anyway, just that's for the ultra fans.
Illegal?
Oh, okay. Well, the High Council.
So the Time Lords, they don't. Regeneration is kind of like a trick, and they're like, oh, this can help you contribute back to society in a better way because you can live longer and learn more.
So a Time Lord
living
is a rank.
forever is not what they want to do ever. So there's like they can ceremoniously give you more as a gift.
It's also a
Okay.
Time Lord is a rank. It's not a species. That's correct, isn't it?
Sort of.
Gallifreyan is.
I was always
They
under-
dance around that a bit and get it mixed up sometimes.
Yeah. So Gallifreyan is the race because they're from the planet Gallifrey. And Time Lord, which has the regenerations and everything, they are the rank. They're the upper class. They're not like in a way of aristocracy or anything like that, more in a way of the scientists, the military leaders, things like
I'm
that.
learning so much. This is amazing.
There you go. Hey, we hope our listeners are learning as well. But yeah, John, so I have kind of caught up, and I watched the episode which you were begging me to watch,
Extremists.
and it broke me.
Now, this one, I'd say, is an example of the kind of Moffat era in its best light. Like, it's had some criticisms recently, and it's reached its end to be taken over by what is it? Chris Chibnall is gonna take it over when Jodie Whittaker comes in. So if you're thinking of joining the show, that would probably be the perfect point. I don't
New
expect,
writer, new series, yeah.
I don't expect them to reference anything that's happened.
I would miss the legendary status of Matt Smith and David Tennant. Which
Oh yeah, you should definitely watch them.
I've heard of the glory years.
But
Yes.
there's only like a couple of throwbacks. That's the thing, like as in they'll make like an offhand comment, or you'll see like a photo or things like that. Like comments about previous companions may pop up eventually, but it doesn't add to the story in a progressive way. So you can start from Jodie Whittaker or Peter Capaldi, and then go back and watch David Tennant, Matt Smith. And I love.
Thank you for that comment.
I love Matt. I love Matt Smith, but David Tennant is where my heart lies.
All right. I see.
Sorry, but yes, Extremist broke me, John, and I hate you for recommending this to me.
So, after you watch the episode, there's this really interesting thing that happens.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
So what happens is someone will hit the table and you have to say whatever number you were thinking of at that exact moment. So as an example, let's do it. So think of a number when you hear the sound and then say that number.
Yep, so it's like, just as an example, don't do it yet, but it's like me hitting the table, so I'll just do it. So it's like 16, 44, 33, things like that. Okay?
So let's try it and see what happens.
All right. 1. 42.
Pi.
33. So pi is not a real number.
How very dare you? It is definitely a real number.
Sorry, it's not a rational number.
It is not an integer. It's
not
a
an
rational number as well.
I should have specified.
An integer?
Yes, I should have
A
specified.
positive integer?
Now, so what happens in this
Mathematics talk.
show? This is major spoilers for the series, so
Yeah.
you had to skip through this section.
Don't.
But basically, what happens is they slowly realize that they all come up with the same number at the same moment. Now, if you're a computer scientist, you'll know that this is a load of rubbish, but it has a little bit of truth in it, in that computers generate their random numbers based in entirely around time. Now, in a real simulation, no one would think of the same number at the same time because they might have different salts or they might have a nanosecond in between it. But they took the concept and ran with it. So that is the way of discovering that you're inside the simulation. So there's this book describing how to do it.
The Book of Shadows?
No, it's the Veritas.
Veritas, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know where Book of Shadows comes from.
I don't know. Creepy
Anyway,
research that I do, who knows?
Latin for truth. So there's some interesting scenes where the Pope comes in, something. I don't
That's
know why.
actually quite funny.
They started doing all this random extreme stuff in the show that didn't really matter to the plot. But anyway.
And at this point, the Doctor's blind as well.
Oh yeah, the Doctor is blind, and for some reason they've simulated that fact as well.
Yep.
Because he was blinded in
Yes.
a previous episode.
That's
Which,
right.
fun fact, also happened to the fourth Doctor. No, it happened to his companion, Sarah Jane Smith. But close.
Okay.
I'm correcting myself on my Doctor Who
I
knowledge.
like how he's catching up with you. So he's like, nope, that's wrong. I like it. Yep. That's why I love you, John.
Yes. Anyway, so basically they discover this book. It describes to you how you can test whether you're in reality or not, and they find out that they're not.
Every single person who's read this book has killed themselves.
which is quite dark for an episode of
I was
Doctor
going
Who.
to say, that escalated quickly.
Oh, it is, yeah. But I mean, this goes through history. It was like contained in a steel cage in the secret library at the Vatican.
So there's this huge mystery, like, why would everyone have that same reaction? And they eventually find out the reason is because aliens are trying to simulate human behavior so that it can come and take over. So the only way to beat them is to stop them from being able to simulate yourself. Of course, the only way to do that is to exit the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Doctor manages to find some way of emailing himself this information.
Yeah,
and sets the scene for the next episode.
Yeah, but the whole... Because we've talked about this before, and I love the idea of us being in a simulation. To the point of... Like, quantum physics kind of points towards it on a certain level. Like,
here we go.
So it's less points towards it, but it explains... It gives a reason for things, why when things will behave one way, but then when you observe them, they will behave a different way. Mm-hmm. Because if the processing power, as you said, is you don't need to process everything.
You just need to process what's being observed.
What's being observed. Yep. So that's why it'll behave a certain way. And then when you observe it, processing power, and so things behave slightly differently. I find it, just quickly on the idea of the simulation hypothesis, I find it so funny that if, like, you have people that's like, oh, deity is absurd. But then when you're like, oh, instead of a deity, it's a group of other people, they're suddenly like, oh, yeah, totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
I know, right?
I find it weird that people's rationalities can be so different.
Well, we've discussed it on the podcast where Merlin was just a fantastic programmer hacker. Regardless, the... I like it because obviously Extremists, the episode, kind of bleeds into the simulated hypothesis. So John and I did the test.
This was so weird.
It was really creepy. We're on the phone.
Yep.
And exactly the same time, hit the... Like, I think I was driving at the time, or I was at home. I can't really remember.
Something.
But
no, using the phone while driving, Adam.
Yeah. Oh, no, hands-free, of course.
Okay.
But we did it, and at exactly the same time, we said exactly the same number. Out of every number in creation, we chose...
What's your guess?
Well, yeah, what's the guess?
42.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct.
Oh my goodness, we're all in the simulation together.
But yeah, so but it was that split-second moment of, oh my god. And then we're just like, we got to do it again. So, I think you went like...
trying until we get something different.
I think you went 16 and I went 30-something, but it was so funny. But I was just like, for that just that fraction of a moment that... My absolute surety in the universe was fractured. And I was just like, it was so good.
That's actually one of the things as well when you look at, like, so speaking of randomness of numbers and what you're talking about, John, with like computers and that, is that like whenever you are told to create really secure passwords, they always recommend that you use dice because dice are actually random.
Oh, right.
And so, for instance,
well, they're not random but indeterminate, right? There's no way to...
Well, I mean, they are actually
all
random.
those factors.
There is a 1 in 6 chance of the dice landing on any of those things. And so, yeah, but then we weight certain things in our mind. And I was actually reading a very interesting paper about this, about how you can't, as a human, be actually completely random.
We've discussed this when clone hunting.
Yeah. So, for instance, like when you do things like make passwords, you can't come up with. So they recommend, for instance, 7 random words back to back.
Oh, right.
It's not possible for you as a human to create 7 completely random words because your brain operates through connections. Yeah.
Nope. Buffalo, pig.
Right there.
They're all
2 of them
animals.
Oh, no, but I went through... No, I was only going through 2.
It didn't work.
But I went through buffalo, pig, ladder, giraffe, obviously tall there.
Yeah, exactly. See what I mean? And so your brain works in...
patterns.
In patterns.
Yeah,
that's how we've survived as a species.
I'm now breaking that. I'm going to focus my mind on pure meditation to become absolute random.
Or you could just get yourself 6 dice.
Which we know I have many of those.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
D&D. But we discussed that during clone hunting, which I found to be quite an interesting one.
That was very interesting. I actually thought about this exact thing that I was just telling you then when I listened to that episode.
Oh, right, yeah.
You have the great privilege of being able to talk back to a podcast, which is quite rare.
It's true.
So, yeah, I loved it, John. So, yeah, I loved that episode.
Quite the mind bender, that one.
Yeah, and obviously it led to the... it was a bit of... Like, I found that to be disappointing, the episode after.
Yes,
Because-
the lead up was much better.
Yeah, the lead up was fantastic. Like simulation had the awesome type of build up. The Doctor somehow managed to email through the simulation, which was a bit strange, but whatever.
It's amazing
Every
they were using the
subroutine-
same technology and could connect out that way.
Yes, it is. A little convenient.
Yep. But
Anyway.
so he went through, and then they had the aliens coming down a gigantic pyramid, and yada yada yada.
Ooh.
And then the aliens got defeated quite easily. So it's just like all that simulation, all that time and effort was absolute rubbish. I mean, so annoying. So yeah, I loved it.
Can you tell me, sorry, very quickly, how long has it been since a TARDIS has appeared on Doctor Who? Sorry, no, Dalek. That's the word I was looking for.
Last season.
Are you talking about like from the beginning?
No, because the reason I say this is I remember at one point BBC were like, we're going to get rid of Daleks for the foreseeable future because it turned out that because of the amount of times that they had appeared and because of how long running Doctor Who had been, Daleks had become the most defeatable enemy, fiction or non-fiction, in history.
Oh, that's so good. They appeared briefly in this season.
Okay.
Briefly, when
Have they...
the very first episode? The second episode, because the first episode was
it's
superhero
even...
one.
There's a spoiler here. I can't tell Adam, so take your headphones off. No, wait, that doesn't
That won't work.
No,
His ears still
Now
work.
plug your ears and Adam, if you're listening to this podcast later, also plug your ears then. Okay. So technically they come back in the Christmas episode, but it's not an enemy Dalek, it's a friend Dalek.
Is it Santa Claus?
Maybe. No. All right, you can...
Ooh, okay, good.
Oh, wait,
All right.
he's completely shut up.
Sorry. Yep.
So there you go.
I was trying to randomness stuff, but yeah, go on.
Another interesting fact about Daleks is the BBC didn't have the rights to them. They belonged to Terry Nation, who created them. He was a writer.
Oh.
Wow, how interesting.
And the BBC also never wanted to have like robotic one-eyed aliens in the show. But after a few episodes in, they ran out of ideas and they were like, all right, fine. They'd never wanted the Daleks in the first place. Now, Terry
After
Nation...
a few episodes in, they ran out of ideas, and the series continued for another 40 years after that.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, they lost the rights to all the Dalek episodes. They couldn't show them because it contained content that belonged to the Terry Nation estate. So what actually happened is when I first watched Doctor Who, it was played on the ABC, and they weren't able to play any of the Dalek episodes. And unfortunately, it would always be a Dalek episode where something important happens, like the Doctor dies or a new companion arrives.
Yeah.
And so you miss out on these huge chunks of important story. But luckily they got them back just in time for the reboot in 2005.
I was going to say, because that they appeared in like the third episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the fifth.
There you go. One of the early ones.
Oh, really, really great episode, that one. It has some great dramatic tension.
Yeah.
Everyone always, like they always say, I'm going to skip the quote-unquote the first Doctor.
Christopher Eccleston.
Christopher Eccleston, yeah. Christopher Eccleston. Because I honestly don't know. I love it because he's sassy. He's,
Have you watched this one?
No. Oh,
I-
okay, right.
I've seen no. Just go with no.
Much like Tyson Fairfolk, take it from us and watch Doctor Who.
Actually, because we're on my favourite topic of conversation.
You're about to do the transition noise and you're just like, wait a second. Yeah.
I have more to say.
Yeah, go on.
I literally have a graphic novel which you need to read because it's an awesome story. It's called What I Did on My Summer Vacation by Sally Sparrow. It's a great plot. Time travel story.
Has Sally
I've just
Sparrow
realised
written
I
anything
don't
else?
think it's in this house. I think it's my parents' house. So I can't give it to you now.
Oops.
But it's like super short, easy to digest, great plot. Anyway, now it continues.
Oh, she actually... sorry, you can cut all this, John. She actually wrote for Doctor Who.
Who?
Sally Sparrow. No, she's not. Sally Sparrow is a character from Doctor Who.
Yes, they redid this graphic novel as an episode.
The Weeping Angels. Blink.
Yes, Blink.
All right. That's actually one of the most top-rated episodes of all Doctor Who, by the way.
Oh, I am aware of that.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, but I've heard about it. And I've
is
seen the pop
fantastic.
culture.
Yeah.
Well, if only it wasn't already quite late, because then we'd be watching it, right?
I'm on holidays. I can do whatever I want.
He's not, though. Oh, my. So, let's talk about supernova. One of my favorite things is the night sky and stars. And I was actually quite humorous when I was at one of my previous jobs, and I was talking with somebody, and I may just drop the fact in conversation, a normal everyday fact that everyone should know, that our sun is in fact a star.
What?
That's what they said.
Okay. Yeah.
They did not actually know.
Wait, Tyson. As a science teacher, is our sun a star, or the star closest to us a sun?
So it depends on how you want to define each of the terms.
Oh, okay.
A sun, you could claim, is the name of any star that is in the center of a
Solar system?
Not a solar system, because Sol is actually the name of our star.
Oh, okay, fair.
So the solar system is named after our star. So you would have the
sun system.
or the Proxima Centauri system,
Okay.
right? Or things like that.
Alpha Centauri.
Our sun is a star. It is called Sol, and it is a sun. Mm-hmm. Define those in how you will.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, don't define those how you will.
No, you heard it from the science teacher. Define it how you will. Put that on your science test and say that the science teacher from Surviving the Apocalypse in the Nerd's Way and Screen Review Time Warp said that is okay. End transition.
Gravity is an opinion.
It really is.
Hey, you heard that here. Once again, science teacher. But no, regardless.
Carry on.
So supernova.
Yes.
A fantastic...
Why don't you describe what a supernova is first?
Okay, it's where a star has become so large, obviously, that it goes into... what is ours? Ours is a... It's not a red giant.
Ours is a yellow dwarf.
Yellow dwarf, that's the one, yeah. So where a star turns into a red giant and then implodes.
Oh, boy.
Not quite.
It's close enough. We're not going into bloody astrophysics formulae.
Supermassive stars can... so our star will never go into a supernova because it's too small. We actually have a fairly small star.
Hey, really?
Comparatively.
It does what it needs to do. Okay?
Oh, yeah, like provide life
for everything on Earth, yeah.
and all of our energy. But it is fairly small. Yeah. So, yeah, larger stars with far more mass than our star can go supernova, which is where it basically explodes. Carry on.
Sorry, yes. So, they go big and then implode. Yeah.
So, no, because the red giant stage is specific to our smaller stars, whereas a supernova is specific to a larger star.
Give an example of a larger star.
Like Betelgeuse, which is in the Orion Nebula.
But, no, I mean like what type of giant star? So Betelgeuse is a...
Betelgeuse is a red giant.
Yeah, so...
Or a red supergiant.
Red supergiant. So red super... Yeah, there you go. So supergiant. Regardless. So anyway, now, in a supernova occurs, so planets are formed over quite a vast sum of time.
Yes.
And that generally occurs from stars exploding, reforming, stars exploding, etc., etc., etc.
Well, I mean, everything in the universe exists from that process.
So everything in your home, you yourself are made from stardust.
Yeah.
Which I find to be the most... Like, if you want to capture someone's interest in astrophysics or just science in general, lead with that.
Yeah.
You just say, hey, everything in existence, you are made out of the stars themselves.
Yep.
It's poetic and
that is a
imagination.
scientific fact. Absolutely everything in the universe came from stars.
Yep. So there you go. Use that. But supernova are brilliant. They're fantastic and terrifying.
Wait, where did stars come from?
Stars came from the interaction of protons, neutrons, and so basically
It's magic. So,
quick history of time. The Big Bang, or what we actually don't know exactly how it started, but we know from about, I think it's something like a 1/12 of a second. From then onwards, we're pretty certain what happens.
Okay.
Before that, we actually don't know. Essentially, lots of matter and antimatter gets created, the interactions of which annihilate each other. What's left over? So what's left over in our universe is about 1% of what was actually created.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. So all
which is why
of
there's so
those,
vast empty space.
yeah. So
But
at that point,
a lot
all
of
the
universe as well.
yeah. So at that point, all the strong nuclear forces take over, which is where the atoms, not the atoms, the nucleons, protons and neutrons and electrons get close enough, or protons and neutrons get close enough to actually stick to each other. The fusion of atoms releases vast amount of energy, which can then be used to basically create these chain reactions. Eventually, when enough matter aggregates together, it can continue these fusions and splitting of atoms over and over. Those are what stars are. Stars are just giant hydrogen bombs. So hydrogen and helium, but all heavy elements, or all elements, period, have only come because they have been fused in stars.
Certain elements, though, will only come from a supernova, though.
Correct.
But regardless,
Adam got something right.
I get a lot of things right. I only get I get most things half right or half wrong.
All right.
Which is fine. So, regardless, wow, okay, a lot of science. So basically all you need to know is there's a lot of magic in the world and in the universe. Okay? So supernovae. So
What? That's not what I got at all.
that's what I got. So I didn't know this, and you have educated me.
Yep.
That it's not supernovas.
Supernovae.
Supernovae. There's a little bit of trivia for you fine folk. So when referring to multiple events of a supernova, it is supernovae.
Better have got this right now.
If you don't, I'm going to be so disappointed in you.
Does that mean like the sci-fi convention here in Perth called Supernova? If you go to 2, does that mean you've gone to
supernovae? Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm totally going to bring that up when I go.
It kind of sounds like a fancy French makeup brand.
You know what? We should probably do a recording at Supernova, and we'll go to another one and say we've been to many supernovae. Regardless, so as Tyson has already said, our sun, our star, our gorgeous soul will never become a supernova, a poor thing, until I've poured vast sums of matter and energy into it. That being said, it is still going to expand.
Yes.
At not at a rapid pace, but it is going to expand eventually.
It'll be fairly rapid when it does. It just won't happen anytime soon.
Yes. What I like about this, though, and this is kind of a little bit off topic, so everybody thinks when our sun expands that it's going to swallow up our Earth. That's false.
No.
No. As it expands, well, this is from what I've read recently in a...
Oh, boy.
Go on. Keep going.
No, I'm trying to remember the paper where I think it was New Scientist America or something like that.
Okay.
As it expands, the gravitational force of that is still going to be it's still going to destroy all life on Earth, but it isn't going to engulf our sun. Because as it expands, not at a rapid pace.
Yep.
As it expands, it's not going to engulf, like in a ball of flame or whatever. As it expands, the gravitational force is still going to be active against it, which will push it further and further away. So, temperatures are going to rise, it's going to kill all life, but the sun is not going to engulf planet Earth. It is just going to push it further out.
Earth away?
Not shoot, it's just going to push it away as it gets bigger. Because the gravity of the Earth and the sun or whatever, it's not going to push it towards, it's going to push it away. As, I don't know the science behind it all, but that's what I didn't read the whole article. But we're not going to go too deep into the science.
I am 99% sure that that's incorrect. But anyway, keep going.
Well, I'll get the article, I'll give it to you.
Yep.
And then... if so, I will make a correction on the next episode, or I'm just going to leave it quiet and just pretend that it was right all along. But
carry on.
We had a discussion beforehand about supernovae, where there was one in the 1800s, 1500s, something
much
like that.
Earlier. Yeah,
1500s. I'm pretty sure.
1500s is the last one.
Yeah, where it was so bright that it lit up the midnight sky as if it was noon. It cast shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have records of what people thought about this? Like,
No,
did they think the world was ending?
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Not in Europe.
No, yes, I know where you're going with this.
Not in Europe.
No records in Europe.
What is going on?
Because the church was so powerful at that stage that they ignored it. They thought God was displeased or something like that?
I can't remember the exact reason. I remember listening to this as well recently on a podcast. I can't remember the exact reason, but basically the Catholic Church essentially... it was thought that the supernova was in relation to, I believe, another religion, and because the church was so powerful that any record of it would be thought that you were aligned with that
heretical in nature.
Yeah, and then you would be cut off, and it could be like really damaging.
So no one wrote it down.
Nobody in Europe wrote it down.
There was no, like, very little.
The center of culture
it's a
at
bit
that
of
stage.
A bright night tonight. Yeah, I guess so. Nothing.
Yeah. No, there's not. No, what are you talking about? It's dark out here. Good night.
Yeah, runs away inside the house, locks the door.
I said good day, sir.
Closes the blinds and then opens them because they realize, wait, no, it's still dark outside.
Yeah, it's dark outside. This should be open.
Yeah.
And then like deliberately trips over stuff. I didn't see.
I'm sorry. I'm drunk. You're the Pope. So yeah, when we were talking about this before, so Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Go on, that's you.
Okay, so Betelgeuse. Well, so one of the big kind of disappointments in the scientific community of astronomy is that we haven't had a supernova happen since we have really had like good technology to observe them. But it is known that Betelgeuse, which is one of the stars in the Orion Nebula, is losing mass, which means that it is going to go supernova very
soon in the...
Soon, quote, unquote.
In the life of the universe.
Yeah, that could be literally now, or it could be 80 years from now. We don't know exactly, but we do know it is going to happen soon. So, when it happens... Because here's the thing. Whatever you think of supernova, however big and bright you think they are bigger and brighter. Yeah. As an example, there is a great example that Randall Munro of XKCD fame provides.
No, he's fam.
Yep. What do you think would be brighter? A supernova going off where the sun is? Or the detonation of a hydrogen bomb pressed against your eyeball? For the record, a hydrogen bomb is a fusion bomb that is significantly bigger than the fission bombs which were dropped on Japan.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
So I guess you won't be able to see it for long because your eyeballs will get burned
But in terms of like the light energy delivered, what do you think would be brighter to your eye? A hydrogen bomb that as it's pressed against your eyeball, or a supernova going off at where the sun is?
I would say, John, you go first.
Well, you already know the answer.
I do. That's why I'm saying you can go first.
Like, it's... Because, like, it's so far away, but it's so close. I don't know. I'm going to have an implosion in myself right now.
He's going to go supernova.
So... the supernova would be brighter by 9 orders of magnitude.
So that's not 9 times.
That's not 9 times. So 10 times is 1 order of magnitude. 100 times is 2 orders of magnitude. So this is 10 to the power of 9 times. That's 1 billion times brighter.
So Betelgeuse has already exploded.
Okay.
Well, theoretically.
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
What? Common misconception is that stars are...
Wait, sorry, you were back up.
Betelgeuse...
No, did you say communist conception?
No, common misconception.
Okay, good, because I was going to say...
no politics on this podcast.
I was going to... Communist conception? I'm like, what a communist got to do with this?
No, common misconception is that stars are, like, hundreds of light years away and that it's already exploded and it's just, it's a matter of time till we get it.
100, but yeah.
No. I'm going to try and look it up now, but Betelgeuse is only a matter of, I think it's only about 5 light years away. Possibly not even.
Well, it'd still take... Okay, so even if it's 5 years. But let's just say, theoretically, or hypothetically rather, let's just say it has already exploded. It would still take 5 years for us to see it?
Correct.
Yes.
It's... Let me see. This is thrilling.
642.5 light years away, Betelgeuse.
642... No.
Yep.
For Prefect, man, that was a long journey to get to Earth.
So you might be thinking... Well, I know for... so you know the Southern Cross?
Yeah.
So Epsilon Circa is the star between the right and the bottom star. And that is only about 85 light years away.
Why is this... I feel this is wrong. Anyway.
So after saying all this, it's all right. But yeah, go
on. Anyway, so it's when it does... Like, when Betelgeuse does go supernova, because Betelgeuse is so incredibly massive, it's stupidly big. Because it's so massive, it will provide the equivalent of daylight to the Earth for 2 weeks straight.
Which is going to be fantastic. Well, actually, no, it's not, because I hate the day. But it'll be
How will
different.
we sleep? Like,
it's going to mess up here.
Will plants grow faster because there's more... I guess they will, but
they would, yeah.
They might also die out as well because there's too much...
I don't think there'll be a lot of heat during the night.
No, well, there won't be
no
heat.
It'll just be light.
Yeah, just
so it'll be
light.
cold.
Yeah, so it'll be the same temperature at night. It'll just be bright.
Yeah. Is there UV rays from it then? I get some there?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
I think
so we'll be hanging out during the night, and like sleep during the day so that we can have the light. But no.
So you're going to try and you're going to come into my type of world, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, so Betelgeuse is incredibly massive. And John, I'm going to show you a video which I'd like to link in our show notes as well.
Okay.
It's a star size comparison against Earth, Sol, our sun, Betelgeuse, Eta Carinae.
I know which video you're talking about.
Maybe, because there's a few out there.
Is it accurate?
It's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, it blows your mind, and it ends with V Canis Majoris,
which is the largest star,
second largest star
in the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah, that we have seen, anyways. There is one larger one.
Well, if there's another one that's bigger and we missed it, like, is it really that big?
Well, yeah, true. But there is one that is larger, which defies the laws of physics and is still in its birthing cloud.
Stellar nursery?
Yeah, stellar. I just like to call it birthing cloud because it sounds sexy.
Sounds gross.
Birthing cloud. I mean, if I could give birth... Well, giving birth would be horrifying because I'm a man. But if I could give birth, I'd want to give birth in the clouds. I mean, come on. Soft, pillows to lay
like
on.
A digital baby born in the cloud.
Yeah. But yeah, so... regardless, so... My favorite star is V Canis Majoris. It's massive, it's huge, and utterly terrifying. The size of it is mind-boggling. We're going to put it in the show notes. Highly recommend looking at it because it's just... Ugh.
Is it bigger than a whale?
Is this what would win? 6 quintillion whales or 1 V Canis Majoris?
I'm assuming... Have you seen this video that he's talking about?
No.
It's phenomenal how large things are in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 6 quintillion of our suns wouldn't even fit in V Canis Majoris. Like, it is so incredibly huge.
It's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling. Like, you can't actually go... If it was where our Earth is... Sorry, if it was where our sun is, it would reach as far out as Jupiter.
Oh. Whoa.
I'm pretty sure it's bigger than that.
No,
because Betelgeuse would reach out to.
Well, that's
the
what they said on
asteroid belt.
That's what they said on the video. If it was where our sun is, it reaches as far out as Jupiter.
Either way, it's massive. The point is, it's huge.
Yeah, it's okay. But you got to remember that's 3-dimensional as well. So it's not just reaching out there; it's reaching out the back end as well.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a good point. Of course, yeah.
I'm going to call you guys out on this.
Go on.
Okay.
How does interstellar science help us survive the apocalypse?
Easy. All right,
very
you go
easy.
first.
Okay, so knowing the stars and knowing how, where bright stars are in the sky can help you navigate. Mm-hmm. And by knowing the navigation, therefore, it helps you actually get around wherever you are without, once our coronal mass ejection has destroyed all technology, you know how to navigate around that sky. Because Betelgeuse is one of the brightest stars visible to the naked eye. So by knowing that, you can then work out.
Of course, not
there's
really
a whole culture
too much.
that went on that as navigation.
It's not going to help you too much when the Grey Goose Sea overtakes us but regardless.
Fictional thing?
No fiction.
I have this weird thing. I even looked on Gumtree. I had this weird obsession with that because I wanted survival skills and tracking and all that. And I tried to look for a sextant, but they're not really that common nowadays.
No, they're very hard to find.
Maybe you should explain what a sextant is so that way people won't get the wrong idea.
Yeah, so it's basically a brass instrument that you can look through and you basically align it with the horizon and a point with the sun. I don't know very much about this because I used it to navigate the world of RuneScape, which is a computer game. So I only know of the version of that. You basically align it up with the sun and the horizon and then it will tell you where you are, but you also have to have a watch telling you what the time is, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And then a chart so you can match it with the whatever map thing. Anyway.
Well, a supernova will help you survive the apocalypse. Not our sun-going supernova, but
no,
a distant...
it will cause the apocalypse.
No, a distant star going into a supernova would provide illumination. Let's say the dead rose right now. Let's say right now there is some poor mortician who's, sewing up some poor corpse.
And he drops this vial of stuff that he was given by a scientist that he was friends with.
Yep. And suddenly it lurches up, bites him in the neck.
The dead Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. But he wanders out and presto, Bob's your uncle. There's the zombie apocalypse starting.
Okay, Bob's your dead uncle.
He is. He really is.
But you can say hi to him again.
Yeah, exactly, as he comes to gnaw your face off. So, as this happens, suddenly the simulation, God, whoever, suddenly goes, you know what, let's help these poor mongrels out, and goes, boom! Snaps his finger, and Beetlejuice suddenly goes, and explodes in all its radiant glory, illuminating the world for 2 whole weeks.
But also, that happened 500 years ago, so that the light...
Yeah, he timed it. So he's
good.
They've gone, the simulation's gone, you know what, 500 years from now, we're going to release this virus. Or God's gone, you know what, 500 years from now, there's going to be a zombie virus. I'll explode this now.
So how does that help
the
us?
assumption of a deity or of the simulation hypothesis, either way you want to look at it, the idea is that they can exist outside of time.
Yes.
So they can just go, it happened 500 years ago or 640 years ago.
But regardless, so would you prefer to be running from a horde of zombies in the dark, or would you prefer to be able to see where you're running and not trip over in that, theatrical, almost comical sense where someone's like, help me, because I'm not stopping to pick you up, John. You're going to get... We've done the zombie survival quiz already. Future leader of the free world versus dies a heroic death.
Oh, yeah, the BuzzFeed very academic test.
But BuzzFeed stands up, okay?
I hear they quote it in Nature, that scientific journal.
Oh, they do, yeah. I once ate a koala.
That's true.
No, you didn't, you liar.
Of course I'm lying. I would never eat a koala. I ate a human.
Can't believe you would... What? Okay, let's edit that out.
I've eaten an emu. That was delicious. It was in a pie.
Oh, emu pie.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so on our spreadsheet here, we've only got one more thing.
What? I'm like, what? No, we don't. We have nothing left. Adam has written, John shall die horribly by the end of the episode. Oh, God. Okay, that's all we have time for. I
love the noise. I hope that... Oh, that's so good.
I hope you enjoyed this double episode 2-parter with Tyson. Thanks for coming in, Tyson. For both episodes.
Oh, no worries at all. It was very enjoyable.
Where can we find you?
You can find us on any good platform that has podcasts. My platform of choice on the Android ecosystem is Player FM. We are called Screen Review Time Warp, 4 words. But yeah, you can find us on podcasts for Apple or whatever they call it now. We're on Stitcher. We're on Radio Public. We're kind of anywhere.
We need to get on Stitcher.
Otherwise, if you do a search, you can find our RSS feed and you can add it to any other system you want as well. Our Twitter for our podcast, @SRTW Podcast. Hit us up on there and give us a listen and give us a rating and review.
No worries.
And it's good.
No worries. Well, you can find me at Voice of Adam at Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook. Just search The Nerds Way and we'll pop up.
Or Facebook.com/TheNerdsWay.
That as well.
Twitter.com/TheNerdsWay_pod.
We obviously, every episode we put out, we announce it. So if you want to keep up to date and get it as soon as it pops out, turn on those notifications.
And don't forget to vote for either one of our 2 apocalypse offs, which is the Grey Goo hypothesis or the, what is it called again? Coronal artery.
Coronal mass ejection.
Which, has not caused an apocalypse. I'd just like to add.
I'm unbiased.
Factual, possible scenario. Or the science fiction mumbo jumbo.
You can also email us at thenerdsway@gmail.com.
And yes, thank you very much for coming on the episode, Tyson. It was a pleasure.
It was enjoyable, very much so.
Mm-hmm. And you can also find John at JOLKEY.
JLOKELY.
Oh, okay, right. Yep, at Twitter as well. So check him out. Follow. Just hurl abuse at him because he loves it.
I mainly tweet about weird gardening things or computer science stuff. So I don't know. It's fun.
You can find the Indomitable AI at Daweh for short. DOWEH for short. All one word. Who knows? Whoever's actually running that.
It's obviously Tyson now. Well, we know that.
Well, you should be lucky that your sentient plant hasn't found the internet yet.
Ooh. Oh, man.
Well, let's hope it doesn't. Oh.
All right. Until next time, we don't have a tagline.
We don't have a tagline anymore. Tyson, what did you reckon for a tagline?
Didn't you have
No, we got rid of that for the second season.
Oh, okay. Cool. Until next time, make sure that you are stocked up on your nerdy pop culture, and always make sure that you have an axe on the kitchen table just in case the zombies come.
Good enough. Although, yeah, all right, I like it. Okay, yeah, cool. Good night.
Or good day. It could be the day.
Oh, yeah, true.
I
Good
mean,
day.
it's
Good
pretty
night.
scary listening to Adam during the night.
Goodbye.